All right, time to get started. Looking a little grainy here, though. See if I can adjust the filter a bit. That is interesting. I'm like a floating head, which is pretty much how I go through my work week. Yeah, we'll just strike a balance somewhere in the middle here. Whatever, good enough. All right. So just wanted to do a different kind of, a little bit different stream. Lately I've been doing a couple of game challenges where I have like an hour, 2 hours to make a game of a given genre with some parameters. Today I just wanted to do something a little more chill, which is just basically take an asset pack from itch and basically start putting it into a game. So I settled on this one. The artist Pupkin Assets made this Lords of Pain, which is basically like a Diablo 2-ish asset pack. And I'm a Diablo 2 fan, so I downloaded this. He has a free demo pack available. The full version's only $3.50 or so. Not bad at all. So I'm gonna start putting this into a game. Won't get the whole thing done in one stream, but I'll probably do this over a few streams. Yeah, this is definitely Diablo. He's got the gauntlet for the cursor. So we'll need to get that into the game too. That'll be cool. So, that being said, just gonna go ahead and get started here. In fact, I have gotten started. I got started with a blank game, not based on a template or anything at all. And so for anyone interested in what I've done so far, I just got this working. So I've got the player character with move and idle states with 8 directions. And that's it, really. So, and then there's a text object here to show me the directions, which is 0 through 7. And that's it. I'm doing that through manual events, so I'll just pull those up here real quick in case anybody else is doing top-down player movement. I'll show you what I've done and before I progress. So it's just for the player character, I did do a top-down movement. Pretty basic stuff here. I did check allow at diagonals, that way I can do 8 direction movement. Didn't really mess with anything else. I might have set max speed to 250 instead of 200, but you know, that's gonna probably change throughout the game anyway. And then hey Code, how's it going? Family's doing well, bud. How are you all doing? And then for the player, that's pretty much it. Then for the animations, I just set the artist gave me actually 16 direction movement. I'm just going to do 8. And I just set those to walk 0 through 7. And then I'm going to do idle 0 through 7. And so on. I'm glad to hear it. Will this be made? Is there more coming, or is that the whole question? What you mean, bud? For the main event so far, I just did at the beginning of the scene, zoom the camera in because it's super far out. And then I just created 2 sets of external events so far. The player movement, which I'll show here to show what's happened so far. And then I set one up for breakables, which would be like barrels and junk that you break open. Okay, yeah, and then again for the camera, center that on the player. So, think like Diablo or Path of Exile, whatever. It's kind of zoomed in on the player, and they're moving around in a bigger world. Oh, you asked, will this be made? What do you mean? It'll be made over a few streams. I definitely won't get too far today, but I'll do what I can. Okay, yeah, the message finally came through. I guess it cut it off. Yeah, probably a few streams. Fortunately, at least, I got a little bit of the framework set up so that I could really just start the stream. So again, I was just kind of I was introducing everybody to what I've done so far, which is basically getting the player object in there with the very basic 8-directional walk and idle animations. And that's it so far. The camera zoomed in on the player, following the player as I walk around. So it is moving there. So if I actually take, for example, let me make a background layout real quick. Don't even know what to call it. Let's link that up and then throw some stone on there. It'll help us to see actual movement more easily. So set that to 0, 0, and I'm gonna set that to 1920 by 1080. Oops, I do not want that to scale. 1920. And then let's create objects from the external layout. 0, 0, just like 1 or something. Let's see if that worked. There we go. So now you can see my player moving around. Although I think I want to do this a little differently. Instead of moving the background, I think I just want to use like, I don't know. I'll figure it out as I go. I might build actual dungeon style levels or something, but it'll be bigger than this. If you right click on an asset from the list on the left, does the pop-up panel have a scroll or does it show it all? Oh, on the right. Does the pop-up panel have a scroll or does it show it all? So let's see, right click. Here's what I'm seeing. There's no scroll. Did they change something? Oh, and let's set that, set this to the background layer too. Let's see, I actually need to create a background layer. Let's tell it to, okay, yeah, start all previews from that scene. Okay. So I think I would actually need to move the camera on the background layer too. Yeah, that worked. For some reason, yours shows 3 options and has a scroll. Huh. I wonder if mine's like a version, like an update behind yours or something. What are the 3 options you're seeing? All right, so I think I'm going to go to my player here. Oh, and I was going to finish my walkthrough. So I know everyone has different versions. There is the top-down player animator, whatever it's called, the behavior. I didn't want to use that, though, because I think it doesn't give you the most robust set of options, so you get some conflicting animations, as far as I'm aware. So I'm going to do this kind of old school here. It's like the pop-up is resized smaller, so it shows the top 3, then you have to scroll down to see the rest. Oh, yeah, that's pretty weird, isn't it? Yeah, that's not ideal. Is your computer still crashing on you? All right, so for the player movement, I'm just using WASD and simulating all the movements for that. I'm manually setting a variable to hold the player direction. It's not based on player angle, because if I did player angle, I would have to rotate the object, and I'm not... I've deselected rotate the object because we're not like a car. So just basically explicitly saying if these WASD keys are or are not pressed, change the direction from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way around. And that tells me what animation versions I want to use. Then I have the player states, where I check if the speed of the player is 0 or if it's greater than 0. If it's 0, basically setting that to idle. If it's greater than 0, setting the variables for walking to true. And then setting the animations here. The animations are actually really short so far because I'm using an expression. So I'm just checking for the first half of the animation name, which is idle or walk. And then I'm concatenating the player's direction from the player direction variable. That way it's all kind of synced up automatically. The hard part, I think, is going to be getting in like attack states and stuff. So I think I'm going to try to start with that. You said, yeah, it's still crashing, but less often. Computers, man. Computers are so finicky. What Diablo am I using for the inspiration? Well, I'm actually not... I mean, I could argue Diablo 2. I'm using an asset pack, which is very closely based on... I wish I could make this bigger. There we go. I don't know. It's very closely based on kind of a Diablo 2, which is pretty robust. I was just saying it's only like £3, which for me is like $3.50, for a pretty good amount of stuff. So it's got this character here is straight out of like Diablo 1, basically. And then you see it a little bit in the other Diablos. But 16 angles, so it's pretty robust. I'm just going to do 8 because it's easier. He's got 3 player characters. Only, you know, not like a ton of different things, but you can do a lot with just a few items. Yeah, I got the full pack for the stream. So a skeleton and then some other subservient enemy. Again, you can turn those into like 20 different enemies pretty quickly. There's a barrel, a breakable barrel, some bones, brazier, crate, So I'm gonna have fun putting this into the game. You know, nice and chill. It's not like a personal project or anything. I'm just gonna make this a stream project. Obviously, so much goes into an ARPG. A Diablo incremental would work. What do you mean by Diablo incremental? Quite a lot of stuff in here, to be honest. I can't believe it was actually so cheap. Okay, so let me show you something. I put in some of the player animations, and I added a barrel with its animations. So delete this thing, don't need that. So I've actually just dropped a couple of these on the scene. All right, so I did make it to where I can hover over them. You get an outline. And then if you're near enough, so if I click right now, in fact, let me turn on my yeah, there we go. Now you can see my mouse clicks. So if I click on one of these from far away, it doesn't do anything. But if I click on it and I'm close by, like close enough to whack it, it'll bust open and then delete after a second. So I've kind of got those started, but I'd like to get the attack animation in so it actually looks like I'm doing something. And I put white sort on there as well, so you kind of walk behind him. Basically Diablo, but with meta upgrades and 1 life per run. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Kind of like a rogue. The animations do look nice. Nice and smooth. All right, let me turn the sword tracker back off. And yeah, so let's see here. I'm using some player states. So player movement. Really, this would just be called player, I think. Yeah, that reminds me of doing like the 1 life kind of run. That's kind of like a Diablo. It's like Diablo medium core, I think. Some people call it like that. So it's not soft core and it's not hardcore with a permadeath, but it's like a medium core where, yeah, you get the 1 hit and you're dead and you have to start the run over, but then you get like some sort of incremental upgrades that are permanent. Dude, Diablo 2 remastered. I'm sure you've seen. They basically had an asset pack, or not an asset pack. They had an expansion pack with the new Warlock class and then some other quality of life features. I checked it out. I haven't done much with it, but it's pretty sweet. I like what they're doing with it. You should go try it. Yeah, Reign of the Warlock. Okay, player animation. So what we really need is, for the player state, we need to do a check here for basically if the mouse is clicked. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's I don't know exactly, depending on if it's on sale. It might be like 25-ish dollars or pounds, something like that. You said they nerfed the Act 3 rush. What did they do to Act 3? Because let's see, the Act 3 rush was you go. I think the only hard point was you couldn't get to Mephisto unless you'd completed the one where you smashed the orb with the flail, right? So you had to do that quest, and then you could go straight to Mephisto. Did they change that? Oh, so now you have to collect all of them. Oh, okay. I didn't even know that. I just learned something. And from what I'm reading about the Warlock, and from what little I've played of it, it seems to be very well balanced. Actually, a little bit maybe too strong, which is pretty easy to fix. But in terms of like skill viability, you know, a lot of classes have useless skills. It doesn't really have that many useless skills. I don't think. Okay, if left touch or left mouse button is down, then I'm going to check if the variable player attacking is false. Then I'm going to set that to true. Kind of want to play it normally though now, just a chill walkthrough. That's honestly the way I play it. You know, doing the online rushes, try to get ahead in the season. There's just something about playing the game just to play the game, especially solo, and to just enjoy the art. My go-to character, I mean, as a kid, I was pretty dumb. I was absolutely not strategic. As a kid, I liked the barbarian. I would say these days I kind of favor, let's say, like Sorceress is kind of an obvious first choice to kind of like start gearing up and junk because of teleport. But besides teleport, and at that point, what's the most fun? I would say for me, I really enjoyed the Necromancer, and I wish the Poison Nova was a little more effective, because the Poison Nova plus Corpse Explosion is really fun to me, because it's so different. So I would say Corpse Explosion, Necro, and then the Lightning Javazan, probably. Yeah, a lot of people do metagame it in Rush. And honestly, you just start, that's basically like, you can do that, of course. Especially if you're being competitive. But if you're not being competitive, you just kind of skip over the bulk of the game, and then you're really just spending all your time in terror zones now. Which is a nice version of the end game, because you're kind of still experiencing content, but not quest content. Yeah, Poison Nova can two-shot bosses with correct gear and skill. I think I'm referring to, like, I guess terror zones where they level up with you, so it gets really, really tough at that point. But again, kind of classic, not classic, because that's a different thing, but I guess outside of Terror Zones, the Poison, Nova, Corpse Explosion, Necro is really boss, and I love that. But what about you? What are your go-to classes? And I actually lost some local files, unfortunately, of some of my top single-player games. I wish I could go back and get those. They're on a hard drive, which I think has a virus, and I don't want to plug it back into my computer. Barb and tank for everyone else. Nice. In my current D&D campaign, I'm playing as a barbarian, heavily based on the Diablo 2 barbarian. Super nerdy, but the barb does have a special place in my nerd heart. So in Diablo 3, in the story, when they basically had their homeland destroyed, I felt bad for them. Okay. Yeah, whirlwind attack. I should do that in the campaign. I should say, hey, I don't want to do normal. I want to do whirlwind attacks. All right, let me think here. So if the touch or mouse button is down, the variable player attacking is false. I basically want to set player attacking to true and just shut down all these other variables. So we're going to set idle to false and walking to false, and hopefully this kind of works. And then down here, we're going to say if player attacking is true, and if the animation attacking, and I actually need to go ahead and import these too. Let's see. So let's go ahead and get these animations. Let me save. Leap attack got nerfed. What'd they do? Limit the distance? And am I making the catacombs from D2? We will see, dude. I have yet to actually go through every asset that is in this pack. So we're going to find out together. So let's take a look here. Here is the folder. The environment. Let's see. There's some ground variations. Props. Bricks. There's a ton of stuff in here. I just... You know, we'll kind of find out together as we go through this. Not sure how I want to use all of these either. It looks like he's got, for example, bricks. It's set up as a prop. So I don't think he intends these to be like... for building out an entire floor. Let's see, there's a column. Different angles of a column. Yeah, very Diablo 2-esque. You said you used to be able to hold jump attack hotkey and do a jump infinitely doing stacked damage. Only if the enemy was at the edge of the screen to start with. Yeah, yeah. It was basically like the poor man's teleport. And then, yeah, doing a lot of stack damage too. Another version of the column here. It's like a short broken one. Okay, so I need the player attack animations. Let me go get those. I'm doing the warrior. He called it the warrior build, so I'm going to start with that. Let's go get these files. So warrior armed idle. No, we want warrior armed attack. And we're going to start with east, which is facing to the right. Grab those. Actually, hold on. I might have this in here. Let me scroll up. Yeah, I have that one. Let me pull it down here. Come on. Okay. We have attack facing to the right. So now we need attack 1, which will be southeast, bottom right. And then south, which is down. I'm sure I'm gonna have some trouble with the attack animations conflicting with stuff, but we'll work through it. This will be southwest, which I'm going to the South by Southwest convention in Austin next week. Should be fun. Okay, attack 4. This will be west. Okay. Attack 5 will be northwest. Did I ever do PvP? Not in any serious capacity. I definitely did PvP, but nothing where I was like getting good at it. I was a casual. I like to watch it though. Animation. What about you? Did you do PvP? I did do some like non-ladder PvP where I used what is it called? Jamella's creator, where you can basically just hack your own character. And I would play against other hacked characters. So I did that, you know, just kind of goofy stuff. But nothing on ladder in any serious capacity. Exactly, the modded characters. Okay, what? Sometimes they get the same animation. So 4. Oh, this needs to be north. Okay, let's delete that one. Attack 6. All of my even numbers here, 2, 4, 2, 0, 2, 4, and 6 are going to be up, down, left, right. Okay, one more. Northeast. And apply. Okay, so I think at the moment, yeah, I need to change some things here. So let's go back into the player events. Oh, yeah, that's pretty brutal. Level 1000 Fists of the Heavens with lower enemy res. All right, so right here, this is, I'll just call this attack, walking, idle. This is for setting the actual variables for the player states. Down here is just checking the variables and then changing animations. So I want the attack to override everything. So I want the attack to stop player movement. So for the player movement, I'm going to check if the speed of the player is greater than 0. Then I might need to do a check here to say if player attacking is true, then set the speed to 0. Something like that. Or maybe even just disable the movement. I don't know. Oops, let me paste that back in. If player attacking is true, then maybe... No, actually, I don't need to do that here. Let me do it down below. Maybe right here. I'll check. If the player behavior if it is activated, I think I'll temporarily deactivate it. You said, will I be getting the expansion? Yes, because I did. I got the expansion already. And so far, it's really cool. The Warlock finds, like... It seems to be, like, the daggers and dagger-like items, like the dirks. They now have stats that are... That's basically, like, one of his weapons now. So it has stats that are specific to Warlock. And then he now finds books. Old books. Which is really neat. I love the concept of old books in the games. You have a variable acting as a state machine. If so, just test if variable is below X number, then allow move/animation. Yeah, I think I might end up doing that. Right now, let me show the variables I've got. I just have some booleans. And then a direction. The direction seems fine. But I've got player attacking, idle, and walking boolean variables. I might need to do something where I just set up a singular variable to check. Maybe based on these. So like, maybe I need like a player, like overall state. I don't know. Yeah, the Dirk is finally worth something. And I think what's interesting is he's got some like spell casty things like fire, chaos spells. There's basically like a fire nova. It's not called that. He's got a summoning skill tree for demons. And then there's the third one is really unique. I think it's kind of unique, which is basically melee, but it's like he's got the dirk or dagger kind of floats, and then he uses it to attack. And the books all provide upgrades to those kind of, you know, meta melee attacks. I'm describing it poorly, but the books seem to help amplify those dagger attacks. Okay, so let's just see what's happening so far. So I can move. Let me click. We get 1 attack. And then if I push any other button, he keeps doing the attack. So anytime the direction changes, he seems to do another attack. Clicking does not do another attack. That's fine. Yeah, animation is going to be the hard part. You said he's a mix of Necro, Sork. Yeah, exactly. People are describing him as a bit of a hybrid. Which probably makes sense. You start to run out of totally unique options. But there is a sacrifice demon option, which is very Warlock-like. He also does hexes on the ground, so again, kind of similar to the Necro, but definitely in the Warlock territory too. Let's see here. So what I need to do is set this back. So if player attacking is true, I think I'm going to need to do like a check here for if the animation's done. If player attacking is true, and like if the animation has ended, I don't know if that's going to work here. Then this would actually change a variable back, which would be changing player attacking to false. And if player attacking is set to false, then that should trigger and allow top-down movement to resume. But let's see here.
Where are the things?
I'll be right back. And just to prove it, I'm going to put the be right back screen on. Enjoy. I am back. All right, let's see where we left off here. All right, so let me start a new preview here. So it works. I get a conflict if I'm also moving. So if I just stand still and I click, it works. Thank you, thank you. But if I'm moving, so if I run at the barrel and then also click, he kind of freezes, the animation freezes. And I can't get back out of it. So that seems to be the current bug. So if you're moving, change the variable player direction. Right now, the WASD keys are only changing movement based on the behavior, and they're changing the direction number. In fact, the direction number doesn't seem to break either. It just seems to be the animation freezing. So even if I trigger the bug, WASD keys are still accurate. That's fine in terms of direction. The movement and the animation break. Cold pack. Y'all ever use those cold packs where you pop the package and it gets all cold? It's kind of fun. Sam's not feeling too good today. Okay, so what would cause the animation here to freeze? So we have left mouse button is down. If the player is not currently attacking, which is the case when I trigger the bug, then I'm setting attacking to true, idle to false, walking to false. Maybe I should also... I know I deactivate the top-down behavior, but maybe I should set the player speed to 0 automatically, or like... I don't know. I just think maybe there's a little bit of residual speed in there that might be giving it the problem. Yeah, I'll let him know you said that. Appreciate it. That might have fixed it. Hey. All right, so... I mean, so far this is all right. I want to change the way the barrels break. Right now I have it where you click on them like an FSM button. I think I might just change it to where because that's kind of annoying, I think. So let's look at the barrels. We'll just go ahead and transition to those now that we got the basic animations in place. Fingers crossed. So for the barrels, yeah, I just have it FSM button. I think that's what it's called. And Y sort. I might have to do some sort of a very manual check on these. I want to create a group though for breakable objects because there are crates in the asset pack as well. So animation frame plus distance. on frame X, and distance is below X. Yeah, so maybe that plus whichever side of the barrel the player's on. Don't care too much how high or low as long as the player's within distance, but I think left and right might matter. Which is pretty easy because I've got numbers I can do that with. So let's try this. Let me go over to the... So attack frame is, say, 3. Now let's look at the attack frames. We'll do this in increments. So for the attack frames, let's say this one here. Frame 1, he starts to hold it over his head. It looks like frame 3 right here. So it's 1, 2, boom, boom on 4. 4, he's already gone through the barrel. So maybe it should just go ahead and start breaking on 3 to make it feel nice and responsive. So yeah, actually your guess was probably accurate. Let's try this. So instead of barrel being clicked, player distance to barrel is below 50 pixels, and then we'll just check the animation. Frame, I guess we'll say is equal to or greater than or equal to, and you said 3. Oh. God mode, just walk through the barrels. That's so funny. I love that. Let's do that again. Out of my way. Would be 3. Would 3 be 2? Does it start on 0? Let's double check actually. That's a barb move right there. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, common mistake. Do that all the time. So let's do, it's the 3rd frame, but it's going to be number 2. And the animation needs to be, oh, I guess I'll just check for animation by name. Okay. So I'm going to use an expression builder here. This will be attack plus to string player direction. All right, we're not breaking them by walking now. If I click it from here, nothing happens. All right. That actually isn't too bad. So that works. Let me add some more barrels out here for testing. I think the only thing I want to change is maybe just left, right. Because like, for example, right here, if I face away from it, it'll still break. But I think up and down doesn't matter too much. You can still kind of visualize if I'm standing, say, here. Even if I'm like way up on top of it, it still kind of works. If I'm slightly below it, I think that'll still work enough. But left and right looks funny. Cool. So that should actually be pretty simple too. So let's say I'm actually going to drop the animation check. No, actually the animation's fine. But then I want to check the direction. Right now it's just WASD. I know click to move is traditional Diablo. But so far none of my infrastructure is set up to use that, so I don't know. Right now everything is hard-coded to WASD, so I'm going to say I'm sticking with that. So I'm going to go a little more new school than the click to move, even though I know click to move is very Diablo 2. Maybe in another stream I'll make that like an option. But right now, everything that we have so far is hinging on... It's not really that bad. I'm being dramatic. But you can see I've got a few events here that are WASD. It's really not that bad. I'm sure I could figure that out. But I wouldn't say I feel super high priority on doing that at the moment, as I do just kind of getting a game, like a world built out. Maybe some enemies. Your unique mechanic. What? Which one is the unique mechanic? The breaking the barrels? Or the WASD? Alright, so I'm going to check the direction. So the barrel dot X. If it is... Let's say if it's equal to or greater than or equal to player dot X, meaning it would be to the right. The player's animation numbers need to be so let's see. 7 is northeast. And then we have 0 is to the right, so east. Then 1 is southeast. You know, I guess up and down does matter if it's completely above you. Yeah, we can fine-tune it as we go. We'll just start with these. You need to be facing somewhere to the right, if it's to the right of you. Then this. Then let's copy that whole thing, and then we'll change these to be... So 0, 1, 2, 3. So we need 3, which is southwest. 4 is west. 5 is northwest. And... the barrel needs to be less than player X. Oh yeah, using WASD instead of point and click. We'll call that a creative choice, not something I just did without really thinking through. We'll call it a creative choice. All right, so what I'm checking now is to see that it does not break when it's on the wrong side of me, but that it does break when I face it. All right. Yeah, it's close enough at the moment for sure. So even if I do like an angle down at it, maybe just tidy up the Y sort Z order on it at the moment. Yeah, WASD, like the point and click is pretty old school. But I think it kind of limits what you can do kind of simultaneously in the game. Like, it's hard to be moving and clicking a chest and moving and clicking an enemy. But if you're moving with WAS, you can do some more things simultaneously. Let's see. Oh, I was going to create a group. So let's create a group for breakable objects. Then let's add crates to this. So in fact, let me get rid of this. Delete. I'm going to duplicate the barrel and call this one crate. I'm going to add that to the group. Holding shift to stand and shoot. Yeah. Yeah, force shoot, force move, force stand. All right, let's swap the assets here. We need, not this. Let's change. I think I need to change the name of this. So we'll just call it normal, and then we'll call it broken. Then let's change out the assets. Add sprite. Barrel. Crate. He has even 16 directions even for things like the crates. That's kind of crazy. So this one is going to be kind of at an angle. But let's just see what that looks like. Really tiny. I think I'll get one that's in more of a square position, though, for starters. And then let's get the... Come on. Let's get the braking animation. Oh, absolutely. You can really tell that. Okay, so one thing I did notice, though, that I don't prefer is there's a ton of empty space in these, which would require me to... For example, if I'm doing the FSM button hover, it'll trigger when I'm way out here. So for the barrel, I actually manually modified this. But considering I think I only have 2 breakables in the game at the moment, I only would need to fix this one too. So I'm going to say don't share same points for all animations. So let's set the normal origin to the bottom of the... Actually, let's not even do points yet. Let's go into Piscal. See what I mean? There's like all this empty stuff. So without doing any serious work here, I think I'm just going to take this Shift, resize to sprite. Yeah, I think I want to start with this one though. The animated one, because it takes up more space on the screen. Just a little more space. The barrel was actually more chaotic. Okay, let's see. Trying to remember how to... You said do shift, resize to sprite. Crop to fit the content or the selection. Applies to all frames and layers. Yeah, so if I can get this to line up all right with the original one. So that's going to be 24 by 21. Save. I'll call this a new one. Broken 24 by 21. Then I take this one. Yeah, it gives me a slightly different size. It might not matter too much. But it might help me with the points if I make it the same. And I'll call this one normal. Oops. Yeah, normal 24 by 21. Save. Cool. Let's check the points then. So again, slightly to the side here. But that's a quick fix. Good enough. I mean, the whole thing's getting whacked and broken. So now we can probably share points. I want the origin at the bottom because I'm using the Y sort. So I think that'll be the most appropriate. The center is not very centered. So something like this. Let's check the barrel out as well. This one looks funny because I did it a different way, but I want the origin to be more at the bottom. Oops, that was the wrong one. All right, let's get some crates in here. I want this. Oh, I wanted to scale them up too. I forgot. Yeah, it would help if I do that before I set my points, but here we go. Here we go. Oh, those are... I think somewhere in here I have barrels, so I need to actually change this to breakables. Find and replace. Yeah, pistol's pretty handy. Gotta love it. Okay. Gotta love it. Let's give it just a little more room here. Let's say 65 maybe. It's not working on these yet. Did I change the animation name? I think I did. Why did the name change? So normal and this. There we go. Yeah, we need to get the gold dropping. I think we're ready now, too. I haven't made it where you can't walk through the barrels, so I could add that as well. But then I think I want to get some loot coming out of them and some sound effects. So, let's think. What can we do? If player distance is below, I'm not sure exactly, let's say 25 pixels. Can we separate the two? Yeah, that helper, was it like a goblin or something? Okay, well, it is separating them. It's a little jarring. Definitely don't like that. How do people smooth this out? I've used it in other games, but I don't remember it doing this exactly. Let me double check. One thing it suggests is that could be a hitbox issue. One thing it suggested was moving the... No, well, it is. Yeah, putting it after all the movement, which occurs in player, so that's done. Let's look at the hitbox then. And technically, it doesn't have to go that high either. You always use the on collision check and then separate. Let's try that. Yeah, that works a lot better. The player's collision is a little off, actually. But two of the sides work really well. You get just a little bit of walking behind the objects. Let's see here. I am not going to go through every single frame here, I don't think. I'm going to leave it be for now. Let's do something more fun. Let's see what kind of treasures we can add in. We've got gold drop. Let's just call it gold 0, I guess. There's a few different variations of it. Let's get some of these. Yeah, the player hitbox, I think, is off. There we go. Collision mask seems fine on those. The origin is no good. And of course, actually, all that being said, we're going to have the same issue here. So we need to do this. Sure, I'll just overwrite it. Yeah, that would work too. A nice workaround instead of changing all of those different animations. Okay. Points look fine. Wait, no they don't. No they don't. Wait, let's just use the actual center, whatever it thinks the center is. All right, and this is called gold. I want this to have an effect. Let's give it an outline. I'm using the outline instead of glow because it's kind of more old school looking, I think. I could do glow, but the idea is to kind of mimic, you know, those 90s, early 2000s ARPGs. All right, so let's say, let's create a new events here. What am I calling? Trying to add event group. That's the name of it. And I will call this loot drop. Glow's heavy on CPU. Cool. This will make it more friendly for folks. Actually, the loot drop needs to occur. Where do we do this? So, right here. Well, forget the event group. We'll just add it here. So if the variable interacted of breakables is true, then I think I will check the animation frame. Is greater than or equal to, I'm not exactly sure, maybe 2. I think they're going to need another variable to determine if the loot has already dropped. Let's see, can I add that to the group or do I have to? Yes. As a Boolean. Yeah, new options for the for each instance of an object. That's going to be so helpful. I think it's going to help me with some bug fixing on my tower defense game too. I'm having an issue I'm trying to work through where I have a very detailed check on each projectile hitting each enemy. Each enemy is holding a set of arrays on the bullets that they've touched already, basically to allow piercing and such, give me a lot of granularity, but those additional checks that they gave us are going to be super helpful. All right, let's set that to true, and then we're also going to create. In fact, let me, thinking ahead a little bit, we're going to have more than gold. Gems can drop 2, so I'm going to create a group called loot. and add gold to that. And in loot, we'll need a variable called probably like collected. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Let's give this a local variable called random selection. It'll be a number. Variable value, random selection is assigned, we'll say random, random. In this case, I'll just leave it random 0 to 1 or 0 to 0. And then we'll say if it's equal to 0, that's going to be our gold drop. Yeah, really so much goes into it, doesn't it? It's pretty mind-blowing. I might need another external events here for loot collection. What would you say is one of the most revelation, what would you say is one of your biggest revelations as you've learned more about game dev over the last few years? Any assumptions that have shifted or anything like that? Level design is hard. You got that right. Honestly, something I haven't spent that much time on, unfortunately. I'm ashamed to admit, but it's absolutely hard. You've come a long way, though, on it, I can tell. Okay, I just wanted to steal an event here. I'm stealing these right here. Swap that out for loot. That way, let me double check that that's actually what it's called. Yeah, outline, okay. Then in here, I need to include events from loot. Then also, let's see, do we want to do Auto pickup or a player click on the loot? Yeah, practice, practice. You're getting there. You've had a lot of practice lately. I feel like if we're making this a little more, like, I know that I'm making this to feel kind of old school, but it's going to be clunky enough just because of how, you know, how raw the game is. So I feel like a little smoothness never hurts. Do we do then just run over the loot to pick it up? Because here's the gold. I think we should just do run over the loot. But you can still hover over it to see it. I need to add it to a higher Z order as well. Create gold, and then let's go with, wait, oh yeah. All right, run to collect. If the distance between the player, maybe, I don't know, we could probably do collision. Then we're going to collect the loot. Well, we'll start by just deleting it, I guess. But then we can take these. I think what I'll do is take this stuff and we'll add in some of the game juice for it. Have a little number pop up from the gold on collection just for a little bit of feedback. Yeah. Definitely. Let's make sure it's working. Sometimes it's collecting before you ever see it, but I suppose it's not the worst thing in the world. I know, it's always fun to start these new off-the-wall ideas, isn't it? Honestly, this is why I didn't stream yesterday. I was busy putting this idea together. And when I told my friend, she's like, why aren't you streaming yet? I was like, well, I'm getting some stuff together. And this is why. They provided loot indicators. I know this is more Diablo 3. Oh, and we need to get the gauntlet going too. And they have these highlights. What's nice about these is it's not processing intensive because the outlines are part of these sprites. Add variable to gold. Can collect. It can collect Boolean on spawn. Wait X time and then set true. Yeah, even if I just set it to like wait half a second, like I don't want it to impede the gameplay. Like if you're trying to break a barrel and run through it, but enough to at least maybe have a chance at a visual of what you're looting. So if the player's in collision with loot and if the loot variable can collect is true, then when it's spawned, actually, let me think. No, for each, I'll just do it for each. For each loot. So this is going to be outline. Oops. Actually, this needs to go under for each, doesn't it? Something like this. I don't know. Maybe that needs to go under it too. The player's in collision with loot, and if loot is true, I also need to add if well, let me think. Okay, let me do one more thing here. Different ways to do this. I'll just pick one. Timer started. If timer started is false, we're going to start or reset a timer. We'll call it time to loot. Or maybe it's time until loot. I don't know. Time until lootable. Then if the timer value is greater than or equal to, and we'll just give it like, I don't know, 0.4 seconds or something, maybe 0.5. Then we'll set that variable. Can collect, set to true. Loot me. Wait, can I loot him? Oh, I know what I did. Let's go to loot, variable. Timer started, set that to true. Yeah. I do need to change this so I can attack him directly up or down. Isn't it crazy all the tiny little things that go into just such simple actions in a game? All right, let's do a little bit of feedback here. Yeah, definitely spent hours and days on objects breaking and loot tables for sure. Okay, so I was trying to think. We want some feedback when you collect the loot. Obviously, we could do a sound effect. I need to do some sort of a check here for what kind of loot it is, too. Which is probably where we use like some sort of a loot table or something. But if we're at this point in time, I think we just have gems and gold. So sounds good, dude. All right, type 0 is going to be for gold. Hopefully your turrets scared them away. Being rated on Rust. All right, let's see if I have a sound effect we can put in here too. Let me go into my sounds. I think I already have some sort of coins. All right, I'm gonna pause my background music here for a second. Oh, 1 second. Okay, let's see. Oh, sounds. I'm gonna turn up my desktop audio so maybe you can hear this too. And coins. And just let me know if any of these are too loud. Don't love these yet. They blew your front door, then gave up after seeing your turrets. Nice. I'm going to go to Zap Splat, I think, and just see if they have any coins. I need a good gold drop sound. I can probably use these for the collection. Just a subtle little dropping them in your coin purse. I think I want a different sound for when they fall. Okay, let's see. Maybe just coins. Obviously, I could just create this too in real life. Let's narrow the search. We don't want this to be like music. Single shake movement of coins in metal tin. Oh, those are annoying. Almost like combining these. That's kind of a nice... I don't know. All right, let me see if that downloaded. Okay, so if this happens, we're going to play a sound. Yeah, they're very varied. Play a sound on a channel. Choose file. Let's do this in a little bit of a range. We'll say 0.95 to 1.05. And let's give it a test. You gonna ask something? Yeah, what's up, man? All right, now we really need the... Well, let me go into Audacity real quick. I think there's a little bit of a delay. You said, have I ever used spatial sound in the engine sounds? I have not. I have not done that. Set position of sound. Okay, so when things are further away, they could be quieter, or closer, they could be louder. Yeah, that's pretty nifty. But you can't figure it out? Oh, is it not as simple as it sounds? I'm going to delete this empty space at the start. Now I can re-export this as a wave. Oh, gotcha. The left or right. Is the left and right giving you the most trouble? Now we need sounds of something breaking. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I might have to play around with that. If I figure anything out, I'll let you know. Hmm. So I think it's going to need an impact followed by things landing on the ground. Whoa, that was loud. What's interesting is one might not consider that the sound of breaking a wooden box or something isn't one sound. So as I'm going through this, I'm trying to remember it's not, not looking for the sound of a sword hitting a wooden crate and breaking it open. I'm looking for 2 or 3 different things. I'm looking for the concussion of the wood, which is what these are. Then maybe there's a metallic sound, but probably not much of one. And then the sound of wood splinters falling on the floor. Exactly, yeah. The cloth sound followed by a ding from the coins. So I might start with this one here. So that'll give me my initial impact. Then let's see. And again, could be pretty easy to just make these. I just don't want to try to do that live right now. So let's see, wood. Yeah, I could do creaking. I'm just trying to make sure it's not a long, drawn out kind of sound because it's got to be like really, impactful. Sorry. So I'm looking for like a quick impact followed by the other sounds. What else am I looking for? About just boards. So I think what I'll do is just grab a couple of these. Throw them into Audacity. Then what about board creak? Idea, all sounds you make with your mouth. That'd be funny. Okay, let's see. That might be it for the moment. Might be limited. All right, this is the gold. Let's do a new thing. Actually, there's one more thing we could do with the gold here. So if I basically take this, create a new track, and then duplicate it. You get more of a duplication here. So it sounds like just a little bit more. Maybe do that one more time. And then for the third one, let's change the pitch a little bit. And if we play all that back, it's a little bit more. Call that coin drop 2, export it as a wave. Then let's do our boards. Sounds like chains. Yeah, I could see that too. For now, I'll just go ahead and plug it in, and I might make some custom sounds myself, which honestly I think would be easier, and then get those into the game a little bit later. Have a little more control over it. Okay, and then I wanted to also preload some of these sounds. And then let's open up Audacity here. Let's get those wood sounds in here. Yeah, it works for both. So I think for this one, I'm going to take this bottom sound, and I want to basically duplicate that out so that it sounds like a few different boards are landing around. Yeah, trying to figure out which one should be lower. Let me mute everything. That one's pretty good. I think. It's pretty low. Let's check this middle one. Okay, that's a board drop. Okay, lowered that one. This one could be lower for sure. And I'll give this one. Well, let's see how it sounds. Maybe a little bit better. Can I change the length of the sound? I think I can stretch it. What are you suggesting? Keeping in mind the animation is already pretty short, so I don't think I need this to be longer. Let's export a sample of this and just see how it's looking, and then, because sometimes it works best if you compare it to the action. So we'll call it wood break 0. Call it Barb opens a door. Exactly. Channel identifier, I don't know, 2. Oh, and then Gets a little bit glitchy there sometimes. I mean, we've got some sounds going on. I think I need to right here, if I'm collision with breakables and if the animation by name is not equal to normal, I want to be able to run over the broken stuff immediately. That's a little bit better. Probably harder to see, but it didn't feel good, but it feels better now. And I think the Z order needs to be under the player too. Try the wood at a lower pitch or the gold. Let's see if this looks a little bit better. Oops. Yeah, I think so. Stand right next to it, whack it, and I'm on top of the boards. Try wood at 0.8. That's weird. He was attacking even though I was just pushing the side button. What do you think? Any better on the sound? We could do 0.75 to 0.8. Okay, let's add, running low on time here, but let me add another thing. Okay, wrapping up here. I just wanted to bring in one more thing. So we've got let's bring in a gemstone. Let's get the blue one. It has some sort of animation. Oh, I guess it's a falling animation. That's kind of cool. Like a landing. Yeah, they've got the different colors. So blue, green, red, and white. Could be a mana stone for sure. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Would have been better to copy the gold and add the things to that. Let me do this. Duplicate gemstone blue, and then change all this. We've got 1 minute left here. Okay, let's add that to loot, the loot group, and apply. Mana, health, experience, and what could be difficulty essence. Yeah, those are good ideas. Do something creative with it like that. Let's see, what does it look like on the screen? How tiny is that? Oh, that's fine. Okay. Oops. Okay, so that's going to be type 1. Then under loot, right here, we'll just say if it's type 1, then we're going to change the sound slightly. I've got a sound on my computer I think I can use. Replace this one. Let's go back to sounds. We've got like a chime. Let me just, I'm not going to keep it, but let me just grab it just to make it sound different. And then up here, under main, let's preload that sound file. And, oh. Right here. Okay, so random from 0 to 1. So 50-50 shot here. If it's a 1, we want the blue gemstone. And let's test. Okay, that worked. I need to change the Z order. Oh, that was not the chime I thought it was. Oh well. We'll get something good next time. All right, heck of a good start though. We also obviously need the attack sound too, like a nice whoosh. All right. Code, thanks for hanging out, dude. Glad to see you on. Hope you and your family have a great rest of your, well, I guess it's already the end of the weekend now. Hope you have a great week coming up. I'm not going to be on stream on my regular time this week on Thursday, but I'm hoping for at least Tuesday before I head down to Austin, and I'll be seeing George down there too. So y'all take care, and everybody who's been watching along, thanks so much. And whatever it is you're working on, I hope you have fewer bugs than I do. Catch you next time.